I think when we look back at our younger selves, I'm sure you'll agree, we often look at things, don't we, and think, I can't quite believe that was me, you know? That's the case, really, when I look back at some of these big Hollywood stars that I was lucky enough to meet at the early part of my televisual career, shall we say. I'd already met major stars, dare I say, through being in variety and on stage and working in the West End and stuff like that. But Hollywood stars was something completely different. Learning the art of the red carpet, learning the art of doing one-to-one interviews at a very set time, but making sure that you extract a little bit of excitement out of them is very difficult indeed. But it wasn't the modern day stars that I was truly interested in. It was always yesterday's golden era because I felt, as you all know, that they really had a story to tell, something far more interesting, say, than just plugging a latest movie on streaming or whatever they've got. One of them was this particular star I wanted to share with you today because when you get talking to people, particularly at the latter part of their careers, they decide to open up. You know, they want to tell you their version of events. They're not really shy anymore. They're not sort of tied to a studio contract. They really want to let you know exactly how they felt about certain things. And this is what happened when I met truly a major giant of the Hollywood golden era. We're talking a man who was named after the Rock of Gibraltar. That's right, the one and only Rock Hudson. Now, I was lucky enough to meet him when he came over here to one of his very final visits to the United Kingdom under sad circumstances, as many people know. He was appearing on a TV show down at the Shepherd's Bush television theatre, the BBC TV theatre, and he was there for a chat show appearance to promote Dynasty, or Dynasty as it was then called. Lucky enough, as I say, to meet him, and then a lot of these stories were collaborated by, the beautiful man that was Dean Martin's son, Ricky Martin, who, again, had a bird's eye view of everything to do with the Golden Age. But this really all settles upon how Rock Hudson was very upset at the very start of his career about how he felt a particular publicity stunt changed the direction, the narrative, perhaps the better looking acting roles that he could have got because people saw him as something of a joke. As ever, let me explain. Neil Sean here. Nice to see you. Hope you're all well. Yes, this particular story sent us way back to 1948. And what Rock really homed in on was that he was kind of stunned that he didn't know about this publicity event. Now, you've got to remember, this is in the virtual end of his career. So you would have thought he might have got over that by now. But the Oscars in 1948 were a big, big event. He was at the very start of his career. He had a manager called Henry Wilson, who was, shall we say, ubiquitous at best, and very keen to push forward all of his young proteges. So what he decided to do, way ahead of the time of Goldfinger and Shirley Eaton, was to dress Rock Hudson up, painted in gold, as an Oscar statuette, alongside the dancer and actress Vera Ellen, who, according to Rock, was also desperate for PR. Apparently, they didn't really get on because Vera was a little bit, shall we say, pushy. I'm being kind here. Nice to know, though, isn't it? And what happened was they did turn up, as you can see from these pictures, at the Oscars all dressed in gold, and lots of people noticed them. But then, according to Rock, they became something of a laughingstock for quite a few years. Not so much her, because, of course, she could dance beautifully and moved into other sort of things. But for him, he said it wasn't until Giant, opposite, of course, Elizabeth Taylor and the likes of the late James Dean, that he realised maybe somehow somebody could take him seriously as an actor. And then he had big roles like Magnificent Obsession opposite the very Falcon Crest icon Jane Wyman, who apparently, according to Rock, at that meeting was rather miffed that he decided to join Dynasty with Aaron Spelling rather than the other soap, which was Falcon Crest, headed by her as Angela Channing. Even at that later point in his career, he said there were still rivalries. Incredible, isn't it? But as Rock also pointed out, he owed a lot to the Hollywood publicity machine. But he said this particular picture was circulated and used a lot in the casting of movies in the late 50s and early 60s. One thing that may shock you, though, was Rock, although he loved, adored, and worshipped the beautiful and multi-talented Doris Day, was not keen on their frothy comedies together. Once again, he felt that this was going to put him off being taken seriously as an actor. But of course, when things like Pillow Talk made so much money, studio bosses wanted more. One role he did turn down, even though she begged him at the Golden Globe Awards in March 1962, was Marilyn Monroe's final film, Something's Got to Give, which went to his pal Dean Martin. He said that really he knew about her tardiness and didn't really wish to spend weeks and weeks and weeks on a film set waiting for her to arrive. Was Rock difficult? Well, let me tell you, I think at that point in his life, he really had scores to settle, didn't really care what he was saying, rather open. And as I say, Ricky Martin basically backed up a lot of this theory. But it's very strange, isn't it? Because it can sometimes be the one big publicity stunt that you do that can change people's perception of you for the good or the bad. And in the case of Rock Hudson, dressed head to toe, painted in gold, which of course he almost nearly passed out from with the gold paint, he claimed to me, at least, that he felt that this was one of the biggest mistakes of his acting career. Now, I don't know about you, but I thought he left behind some wonderful performances, so I would beg to differ. But I'd love to know what you think in the comments below. What were your favourite Rock Hudson performances? Did you like the TV show Macmillan and Wife? I remember that, still repeated somewhere around the world, still very successful. Or did you like the frothy comedies with Doris Day? Whichever Rock may think, I truly believe he definitely left his mark in the golden age of Hollywood. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.